the day my wife stayed at her first love's house. I left with the divorce papers. Before I left a message under their sweet selfie on social media. Wish you both happiness. Don't forget to pick up the divorce certificate. 1 minute later, my wife called. Chris Anderson, there's only one bed at his place. Can you stop being unreasonable? I sneered and replied, then hurry up and get a divorce. Go find your first love who doesn't think you're being unreasonable. But she panicked. That day, while my wife Lauren Mitchell was staying at her first love's house, I was at the hospital taking care of our terminally ill son. His face was pale, his eyes full of longing, as he stared at the door, hoping Lauren Mitchell would come. Time passed, but Lauren Mitchell didn't even call. I couldn't bear seeing my son disappointed. So, I took out my phone, intending to ask her to drop whatever she was doing and come back to be with him. But as soon as I unlocked my phone, I saw that Lauren Mitchell had posted a picture on social media. A selfie of her lying in bed with Matthew Scott, her first love. In the caption, she wrote, "This is the only place that makes me feel at home. I know I'll sleep well tonight." Before I could even feel anger, my son slipped into a coma, and I rushed to call the doctors. But it was too late. He passed away. I stood there, holding my son's cold body, heartbroken. Even after I had arranged for his funeral, Lauren Mitchell hadn't bothered to call. I traced the words on the divorce papers with my finger, my eyes red from crying. The death of my son meant that any remaining bond between me and Lauren Mitchell had vanished. It was time for me to go. Shaking, I signed my name, and then I looked around at the house where I had spent so many years. It was empty now, just like my heart. Before leaving, I took out my phone again, almost torturing myself by staring at the sweet photo Lauren Mitchell had posted. After thinking for a moment, I left a comment under it. Wish you both happiness. I've signed the divorce papers. Don't forget to pick up the divorce certificate when you have time. Then I blocked Lauren Mitchell on WeChat. 1 minute later, Lauren Mitchell called. Without thinking, I answered. Her shrill voice came through the phone. Chris Anderson, are you crazy? There's only one bed at his place. Stop being unreasonable. Hearing that, I nearly collapsed. My heart breaking, and then Lauren Mitchell went on about their pure friendship. Matthew and I are just friends. Can you stop thinking so dirty about our friendship? It's disgusting. I asked sarcastically. You two are sleeping in the same bed, and it's still just friendship. Why do you need to sleep in Matthew Scott's bed to get a good night's sleep? There was silence on the other end for a moment. Then Lauren Mitchell answered defiantly. Yes, only Matthew makes me feel at ease. I've never been able to sleep well with you, so why not let me sleep well with him? Chris Anderson, you're so selfish. Her voice was full of reproach, as if all of this was my fault. But the truth was, she had no regard for our son, and her eyes were only for Matthew Scott. I took a deep breath, clenching my fist tightly. For 8 years, I had cared for our son while Lauren Mitchell traveled the world with her first love. Now it had gone too far. She stayed at his house, sleeping in the same bed. She cared for only Matthew Scott. I tried to calm myself down. Lauren Mitchell, you really disgusted me. Let's get a divorce. There was a moment of stunned silence on the other end before she scoffed. Who's disgusting now? Look at yourself. Everything you see is dirty. Do you even know Matthew has cancer? His last wish is to have a home with me. What's wrong with me fulfilling that wish? Can't you stop being so selfish? You're the selfish one. How did I end up with such a selfish husband? Her words felt like a dull knife slowly twisting in my heart. She knew exactly how to hurt me, and it felt like she was watching me fall apart. I took a deep breath, struggling to steady myself. Then hurry up and get a divorce. And go find your first love who doesn't think you're being unreasonable. I hung up the phone. Lauren Mitchell and I met in college. She was the department beauty of the music department, pure and beautiful, while I was just an ugly duckling growing up without parents, fending for myself. We met at a party, and while everyone was gossiping about me behind my back, Lauren Mitchell stood up for me. When others warned her not to meddle, they said I was from the countryside, clumsy, and had no parents. They weren't wrong. I had never seen my parents. I was the only one who survived a fire that destroyed my village. Everyone in the village called me a disaster and avoided me like the plague. But then I met Lauren Mitchell, and she was like an angel, adding warmth to my dark life. She listened to their hurtful words and was furious, her eyes full of fire. He's also a victim. Why should people call him a disaster? To me, he's lucky. In that moment, I was captivated by this girl. I had never heard anyone say I was lucky because in their eyes, I should have died in that fire. I fell hopelessly in love with her. She was the only light in my dark life. In order to keep that light, I pursued Lauren Mitchell relentlessly. But as I listened to the gossip around me, I hesitated. I was like a demon from hell, and she's so pure and radiant. I felt unworthy of her. Yet Lauren Mitchell took my hand and confessed her love to me, saying she would stay by my side for life and heal my wounds. I was overjoyed, ready to give her the world. During that time, I worked desperately to earn money, just so I could buy her lipstick and bags to see that smile on her face. Then one day, a couple suddenly came to find me, claiming to be my biological parents. Years ago, I had been abducted by enemies, and they had been searching for me ever since. I followed them, confused, to take a paternity test. Lauren Mitchell stayed by my side the entire time, her little hand tightly holding mine, giving me strength. When the results came out, the couple held me in tears while Lauren Mitchell's eyes sparkled with joy. She said, "This is so great. Now, 2 more people love you." My biological parents were wealthy, and suddenly, I went from being the ugly duckling to the beautiful swan. Those who had looked down on me before now changed their attitude and surrounded me, trying to please me. Before, when Lauren Mitchell and I were together, it was like a flower growing out of manure. Now, everyone said we were a match made in heaven, a golden couple. But Lauren Mitchell treated me the same as always. She said, "I love you, not your wealth or poverty." After college, we got married, and we even had a lovely child. I thought we would live happily ever after. But then Matthew Scott's appearance shattered our peaceful life. When my plans for a divorce with Lauren Mitchell became known, her parents were furious and came to confront me. Without saying a word, they started to accuse me. "Our daughter Lauren has been with you for so many years, and now you just want a divorce. Chris Anderson, you've been with our Lauren for all these years, and now that you're tired of her, you want to toss her aside." Not happening. Lauren Mitchell's parents knew how much I loved their daughter, so they acted arrogantly in front of me, not even giving my parents any respect. My parents, wanting to keep the peace for my sake, tried to speak gently to them, which only encouraged their arrogance. But now, I had had enough. Angrily, I threw the picture of Lauren Mitchell and Matthew Scott in front of them. "Take a good look. This is the good thing your daughter has done. I, Chris Anderson, am not desperate enough to take in any worn-out shoes." The couple's faces turned a shade of pale green, as though they had eaten something foul. Lauren Mitchell's mother, with her neck held high, spoke up. "They're just good friends. What could they possibly do? Don't say such nasty things. Think about how much it would hurt Lauren if she heard it." Her father immediately chimed in. "Exactly, that Qing dynasty has been gone for centuries. How can there still be people like you who hold such feudal views? You're a father now. Set a good example. Don't let my grandson learn your narrow-mindedness. You're a man. Stop making trouble." I laughed bitterly at their words. I was curious how much more shameless this family could get. It became clear to me that Lauren Mitchell's parents were just as selfish as she was. Even now, they hadn't noticed that our son wasn't around. I sneered. "I'm not making trouble. I'm just stepping aside, aren't I?" They both said in unison that I should think of the child, that his growth environment shouldn't be affected. I snorted in disdain. Lauren Mitchell's father's face darkened, and he yelled at me. "Is this the way you speak to your elders?" I just laughed coldly. After being disappointed in Lauren Mitchell, I didn't care to give these 2 old faces any respect. I ordered my bodyguards to throw them out. Seeing the large bodyguards, Lauren Mitchell's parents panicked and hurriedly said, "Chris Anderson, are you crazy? We're your parents." They even tried to grab my hand, but the bodyguards were quick to pin them to the ground. They squirmed and cursed me for being I coldly spoke. "What kind of parents are you?" Lauren Mitchell's parents' faces instantly turned black. "What do you mean by that? Our daughter Lauren has married you. Doesn't that make us your parents?" I sighed. "Can't you see the situation clearly? I'm divorcing Lauren Mitchell. How could you still be my parents?" When they heard this, Lauren Mitchell's parents visibly panicked. Over the years, they had made a lot of money by relying on me, and others had put them on a pedestal. They had long since become arrogant. I didn't want to look at their hypocritical faces anymore, nor did I want to be the fool. But knowing how they valued wealth over all else, I paused, pretending to deliberate, and said, "Actually, I don't really want to divorce Lauren. It's just that my family has gone bankrupt, and I don't want to drag her down. Matthew Scott is doing well now, and for Lauren, being with him is better than being with me. But since you're so supportive of my marriage with Lauren, I guess I won't divorce her." Before I could finish, they interrupted me. "Enough, Lauren, and you are no longer connected. Take care of the child. Lauren is still young. She can't afford to have a burden." And with that, they couldn't wait to leave. I watched them retreating, a smile of satisfaction tugging at the corners of my mouth. The real drama was still to come. When Lauren Mitchell found out, she stormed into my house in a rage. The moment she stepped through the door, she started screaming at me. "Chris Anderson, are you crazy? How dare you divorce me? You're unbelievable. Do you forget how desperately you once chased after me? Is this all it takes for you to want a divorce? Don't you care at all about our son? How could he have such a selfish father?" As she raged, she began smashing things around the house. I gave the butler a look and he quickly took out his notebook, starting to make a record of the damage. Meanwhile, Lauren Mitchell kept on ranting. "I told you, Matthew has a terminal illness. I don't want him to have any regrets. And you went and told my parents about all of this. You're really something." The butler was stunned by what Lauren Mitchell said, his eyes wide. I stood in the living room, silently watching her lose control. The woman in front of me felt like a stranger. After all this time, she never even asked about our son. She didn't care about me or him. The things she was saying, her frantic behavior, were no different from the people who had once treated me poorly. I walked over in a few strides and forcefully snatched the vase from her hands. "Are you done throwing a tantrum?" Maybe it was the first time I had ever been this harsh with her. but Lauren Mitchell froze. I took a deep breath. Lauren Mitchell, I truly liked you. I thought you liked me too, but you've gone too far. All this time, have you asked about our son? Your mind is only on Matthew Scott. Do you know how much our son misses you? Lauren Mitchell looked at me impatiently, interrupting. I told you, Matthew has a terminal illness. I need to be with him. I can't let him die with regrets. I sighed, feeling completely drained. You know better than me whether that's the real reason. You still love Matthew Scott, don't you? I can't stand the idea of you two lying in bed together. It disgusts me. Lauren Mitchell slapped me across the face. You're so futile. I was momentarily speechless. But now, I finally understood. In her heart, there was only Matthew Scott. I was just an obstacle between her and him. My thoughts returned to the present, and I looked at the woman in front of me, suddenly feeling an overwhelming sense of exhaustion. I should have realized this earlier. People change, and besides, Lauren Mitchell never loved me. How could she care about my feelings? Lauren Mitchell, let's get a divorce. It's better for both of us. Don't force me to take action. Lauren Mitchell heard my words and sneered at me. Fine, let's get a divorce then. Don't think I'll miss you. Your family is bankrupt. What's the point of pretending? By the way, I don't want our son anywhere near Matthew. His biggest regret is never having a child with me. Even though I had already lost hope in Lauren Mitchell, hearing this still broke my heart. Our son was hers after all. She carried him for 10 months to just toss him aside like this. After hearing about my bankruptcy, Lauren Mitchell couldn't wait to marry me. I didn't care anymore, pouring myself into my work. No longer saddened by her actions until the day she confirmed her relationship with Matthew Scott. She invited me to a cafe. All smiles, eager to show off her new life. I wasn't interested in her life, but she insisted there was something important she needed to tell me. So, we met at the cafe. When I arrived, I saw Lauren Mitchell dressed head to toe in designer brands. I sighed, seeing how she still couldn't tell the difference between real and fake after all these years with me. When she saw me, she smiled smugly. I ignored her smile and sat down directly across from her. As I sat down, she casually stirred her coffee with a spoon. Chris Anderson, I'm so glad we divorced. I'm with Matthew now, and we're getting married soon. I'll be the chairman's wife. I inwardly sneered. Lauren Mitchell had always used my money to help Matthew Scott start his business, and Matthew Scott had certainly made the most of it, using the Anderson family name to build his network. I used to get upset, but every time Lauren Mitchell cried, would give in. Looking back now, I had raised two ingrates. She looked up at me with disdain. Well, do you regret it? I wasn't interested in her smug expression, so I asked, You've never let go of Matthew Scott, but when I had no money, why did you stay with me? This was a question I had wanted to ask Lauren Mitchell for a long time, and now I finally did. Lauren Mitchell turned pale with anger when she heard my question. She reached out to slap me, but before her hand could reach my face, I gripped her wrist tightly. She struggled, cursing, Chris Anderson, you bastard. Let go of me. I violently shoved her hand away, forcing myself to resist the urge to strike her. Speak. Why? Suddenly, Lauren Mitchell laughed. Chris Anderson, you really are stupid. At first, I was only with you because of a bet with my friends. Otherwise, how could I ever be with someone like you? A jinx. How could I dare stay with you? I was afraid you'd curse me to death. I glared at her, then gave a faint smile. Well, you're still alive, aren't you? Hearing this, Lauren Mitchell slammed her coffee cup down on the table. The coffee splashed, staining my sleeve. She glanced at me with contempt and said, I'm lucky. That's all. I was speechless. Looking at Lauren Mitchell, I didn't want to say a word. I was just waiting to watch her fall. When she saw me leave, Lauren Mitchell smirked with satisfaction. I couldn't help but wonder, how did I ever fall for a woman like her? She had been so good at pretending, even fooling me. I didn't want to talk to Lauren Mitchell anymore. She disgusted me. But just as I was about to leave, she called out to me. Unless you beg me, I can get you a cleaning job at Matthew's company. Otherwise, how will you feed your son? My body stiffened for a moment. I held back my murderous rage and walked out of the cafe, leaving Lauren Mitchell behind, seething with impotent fury. Soon, a BMW pulled up in front of the cafe, and Lauren Mitchell stepped out. The person who got out of the BMW was Matthew Scott. He embraced Lauren Mitchell, and the two shared a passionate kiss at the cafe's entrance before getting into the car, looking pleased with themselves. Not long after, Lauren Mitchell sent me a message. Chris Anderson, I'm pregnant. I replied expressionlessly, Congratulations. After sending the message, Lauren Mitchell eagerly called me. I didn't want to answer, but after a moment's hesitation, I picked up. As soon as I answered, Lauren Mitchell's voice came through dissatisfied. Why did it take you so long to pick up? What's your attitude? Her tone was playful, and her voice was light and upbeat. When she told me she was pregnant before, she had used the same tone. It made me feel like nothing had changed, that Lauren Mitchell and I were still happily together, still that loving couple. I smiled bitterly to myself. Hearing my bitter smile, Lauren Mitchell smugly said, I have some good news. I'm pregnant again. Today, I'm in a good mood, so I'm giving you a way out. At that moment, the butler came in, presenting me with the documents I had asked him to gather. I opened the file and skimmed through the contents. As I read, I asked her, "What good news?" Lauren Mitchell said, "Matthew's cancer is progressing, right? He needs a kidney, and I've matched him with our son's. His kidney is a perfect match. When you can send him over to donate the kidney to Matthew." I froze, disbelief creeping in. Once again, Lauren Mitchell managed to shock me with how thick-skinned she was. I didn't say anything. Lauren Mitchell, impatient now, snapped, "Are you even listening?" I opened my mouth but found my voice. "Why?" Lauren Mitchell, irritated, "Don't be so shameless. Look at you now. You're down and out. How can you take care of our son? I'm having our son donate his kidney for Matthew's sake. At least Matthew can take care of him. It's better than having him suffer with you. A pathetic waste. This is the best I, as his mother, can offer him. What can you give him?" As Lauren Mitchell's words poured over me, I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. I interrupted her impatiently. "I won't do it. I refuse." Lauren Mitchell froze, then screamed, "It doesn't matter if you refuse. I'm his mother. I have the right to decide for him." I ignored her and kept reading the investigation results. I wanted to tell Lauren Mitchell that the man she was so obsessed with, Matthew Scott, was a fraud. He was already married. His cancer was a lie. The truth was he had gone bankrupt. And he'd approached Lauren Mitchell only to get my support for his comeback, hoping that his wife's family would help him get back on his feet. Yes, Matthew Scott was married, but it was a secret marriage to a daughter from the James family who had health problems. After my divorce from Lauren Mitchell, Matthew's hopes of using me for help were dashed. So, he took it upon himself to solve the problems of his wife's family. He wanted to have a child with Lauren Mitchell to ensure that the baby could become a personal organ donor for his wife. And my careless words had given him a perfect excuse for his embarrassing situation. But there was no need for me to share all this with Lauren Mitchell. Still, hearing her heartless words made me snap. "Lauren Mitchell, my son, is dead. The night you stayed at Matthew Scott's house, he was seriously ill and he couldn't be saved. Do you know that he waited until his last breath to see you?" To my shock, Lauren Mitchell laughed mockingly at my words. "You're lying just to avoid donating a kidney to Matthew. You're just like your son. Both of you full of lies to keep me from looking after Matthew. Your son even faked an illness, telling me he was in pain. I can't even bear having such a son. You make me ashamed. If he's going to die, just let him die." 5 months later, I ran into Lauren Mitchell again at a mall. She had entered a mother and baby store, picking through items. I watched her from behind, unsure how to feel. Maybe I should congratulate her on getting everything she wanted. As I was about to leave, I overheard her conversation with the sales associate. I turned to look, and I noticed she had changed. She looked more haggarded than 5 months ago. Perhaps it was the pregnancy hormones, but her usually flawless skin was now covered in pimples of all sizes. Her belly had started to show, but she was thinner, almost skeletal, her body completely out of shape. I was surprised. Given that she was pregnant with someone else's child, surely the James family wouldn't leave her in such a state. How could she be looking worse instead of better, even though she was pregnant? Just then, Matthew Scott walked in, his face showing clear displeasure. When Lauren Mitchell saw him, her face immediately lit up with a pleading smile. She held her belly and walked eagerly toward him. "Matthew, what are you doing here?" She reached out to hold his arm, but Matthew Scott subtly avoided her touch. I couldn't help but laugh at the scene. Lauren Mitchell had worked so hard to marry Matthew Scott, but now it was all just self-deception. Seeing Matthew Scott pull away, Lauren Mitchell had no choice but to awkwardly stand by, embarrassed. Matthew Scott didn't even spare her a glance. Frowning, he said, "I told you not to wander around these days, didn't I? Do you not understand?" A flicker of panic crossed Lauren Mitchell's face as she stammered. "Matthew, I wasn't wandering." Matthew Scott cut her off, his eyes filled with disdain. All right, I don't want to hear your excuses. Now, come with me. We're leaving." Without caring for the people around them, he roughly pulled her away. As I watched them leave, I couldn't help but smile. The real show was about to begin. The reason Matthew Scott was so concerned about the child in Lauren Mitchell's belly was simple. His wife needed it. The eldest daughter of the James family with her precious life was picky and didn't want to share. That's why she needed this child. But this child was also the proof of Matthew Scott's infidelity. It was said that this spoiled Aries couldn't stand anyone taking what was hers. Matthew Scott surely understood the personality of the James family's eldest daughter. She acted based on her whims. What's more, to maintain his facade in front of Lauren Mitchell, he had accumulated a large amount of debt. He was counting on this child to be born, then sold to the James family's daughter, using the money to pay off his debts. At that point, it would be another show. As expected, just a couple of days later, major financial news outlets were reporting on the return of the James family eyes. Meanwhile, I was packing my bags, planning to leave at any moment. After all this time, I deserved a break. After the divorce from Lauren Mitchell, I closed a business deal with a company owner who admired me and began attempting to set me up with his sister. At first, I refused. but over time, I realized she was a great person. Unknowingly, I had fallen for this gentle, caring girl. I thought once my business grew a bit more, I'd confirm our relationship and give her a grand wedding. Just as I was lost in my own joy, Lauren Mitchell showed up. She arrived just as I, with Malene Stone, was about to load the last of the luggage into the car. Seeing me moving things, Lauren Mitchell suddenly blocked my path. "Chris Anderson, what are you doing?" I replied casually. "I'm moving out. I've sold the house." But Lauren Mitchell seemed like she had lost her mind, grabbing onto me tightly. "What do you mean you're moving? Where are you going? I won't let you move." As she clung to me, a wave of frustration rose within me. I wanted to push her away, but considering the child in her belly, I simply stood still. Just when I was at a loss for what to do, Malene Stone approached. She frowned at Lauren Mitchell, grabbing my hand, and then flashed a sweet smile at her. "Ma'am, you're holding my boyfriend's hand." Malene Stone's tone remained warm and graceful, but Lauren Mitchell immediately panicked. She looked at me incredulous. What did she say? "You're her boyfriend." She glared at me, her eyes filled with hurt, as though I was a scoundrel who abandoned his wife and child. "Did I give you permission to have a girlfriend? How dare you get a girlfriend behind my back? Have you two been together all along?" After a moment of realization, she nodded to herself and took a few steps back. "I knew it. You wouldn't divorce me unless there was someone else already. No wonder." She raised her bloodshot eyes and stared at me with a fierce glare. "You're divorcing me for your mistress, aren't you?" I stepped forward, shielding Malene Stone behind me. "Are you out of your mind? We're already divorced. Whether I have a girlfriend or not is none of your business. Also, Malene and I only met after the divorce. If you continue to slander her, don't blame me for being ruthless. Finally, if you're sick, go see a doctor, but don't go crazy in front of me." Just as I took Malene Stone's hand and prepared to leave, Lauren Mitchell blocked my way again. This time, her eyes carried a pleading look. "Please don't go. That James family eyes isn't human. Matthew Scott isn't either. They want to take the child in my belly and make him their exclusive donor. I really can't handle this. Please help me." I looked at her with a hint of mockery. "Oh, help you? I'm a jinx. Broke as hell. What makes you think I'm in any position to help you?" Lauren Mitchell, seeing my response, quickly apologized. "Chris, I was wrong. I apologize for everything I've done. Just help me, and I'll do anything you ask." I asked her, "How can I help?" When she heard this, Lauren Mitchell smiled, thinking I still had feelings for her. She flashed a victorious smile at Malene Stone, then hurriedly said, "It's simple. Just publicly admit that the child in my belly is yours and that we're still married. Then this issue will be resolved." Before she could finish, I coldly interrupted her with a laugh. "Lauren Mitchell, you really think highly of yourself. You want to use me to keep the child, then leverage the child for benefits from the James family." Lauren Mitchell stammered, "As long as you agree, I'd promise I'll be good to you from now on. We can be a family of 3. I interrupted her sharply. "Lauren Mitchell, what makes you think I'd be foolish enough to willingly wear the cuckold hat? And what makes you think I'd want you? A worn-out shoe? Lauren Mitchell, was my patience with you all this time a sign that you think I'm an idiot?" Perhaps my words startled her, or maybe it was the final nail in her hopes. Lauren Mitchell stood there, frozen, unable to process what had just happened. I grabbed Malene Stone's hand and walked straight past her, leaving. I thought that would be the end of it, but I had underestimated Lauren Mitchell's shamelessness. To keep the child, she went so far as to claim that the baby was mine. She posted on social media, playing the victim, and soon many naive netizens found my account. They flooded my page with insults, digging up my past and labeling me a disaster. They even went as far as to advise Lauren Mitchell to break free of me, the jinx. Lauren Mitchell played the part of a hurt lover, saying that no matter what happened, if I was willing to turn back, she would always wait for me. Once again, I was impressed by her acting skills. Suddenly, she became the brave and kind single mother, while I was the scum who abandoned his wife and child. Many people found my home address and gathered outside my door, demanding I give Lauren Mitchell an explanation. However, I had already moved out. They couldn't find me, so they moved on to block my company instead. Seeing the enraged crowd below, I immediately called the police. The police arrived quickly and dispersed the crowd in no time. Seizing the opportunity, Lauren Mitchell started a live stream and made a fortune from it. Once the situation had calmed down, I released the recordings of my conversations with Lauren Mitchell's parents, as well as the truth I had uncovered. The recording clearly captured Lauren Mitchell lying in bed with her first love the night my son died. It also exposed the ugly faces of Lauren Mitchell, her parents, and Matthew Scott. The public opinion shifted in my favor. Lauren Mitchell, panicked, claimed that the recording was fake, but not many people believed her, so she brought her parents in for a public statement, and the James family stepped in as well. Just when it seemed the situation had settled and doubts about Lauren Mitchell had been cleared, I released the cafe security footage and audio. The footage clearly showed Lauren Mitchell's voice. "Chris Anderson, lucky to have divorced you. I'm with Matthew now. We're getting married soon, and I'll be the chairman's wife." Ha, Chris Anderson, You're so stupid. Getting together with you was just a bet with my friend. How could I ever be with someone as unlucky as you? I never dared to be with you. I was afraid you'd curse me to death. I also released the recording of her asking me for my son's kidney and the cruel words she said about him. As soon as that audio came out, public opinion completely flipped. The insults that had been hurled at me now came flooding back at Lauren Mitchell. To prevent her from causing any more trouble, I handed the recordings and other evidence to the police, accusing her of defamation and personal attacks. At the same time, the marketing accounts that had insulted me the most received letters from my lawyer. They all came begging for a settlement, but I refused. The police quickly summoned Lauren Mitchell, but since she was pregnant and hadn't caused me any substantial harm, the police couldn't do much more than detain her for a few days before releasing her. I had no objections, though, since my goal was never for her to be imprisoned. I just wanted to confirm that the child she carried was Matthew Scott's. Everything else could be handled by others. However, those marketing accounts were now facing account suspensions, compensation claims, and even potential jail time. Malene Stone, seeing that Lauren Mitchell hadn't been punished more severely, muttered in dissatisfaction. Why did they only lock her up for a few days? Just because she's pregnant doesn't mean she should get special treatment. I laughed, ruffling her nose. All right, I never planned for her to go to jail. Malene Stone, still unhappy, slapped my hand away. Is it because you can't forget her? You don't want her to go to jail. I looked at the girl in front of me, amused. What nonsense are you talking about? After everything she's done, if I still can't let go, then I'd be the one with the problem. Malene Stone burst out laughing. Just wait, someone will take care of her. All we need to do is sit back and watch. As I expected, when the James family eyes found out how badly things had escalated, she was so enraged that she fainted. The James family quickly came to seize Lauren Mitchell and lock her up. Lauren Mitchell, unwilling to be confined, tried to use the child in her belly to threaten the James family. She believed that since the baby she carried was destined to be the heir of the James family, they would protect her. But she had overestimated herself. The child was nothing but an unborn baby, and if the James family wanted, there were many women willing to carry it for them. Lauren Mitchell was simply too foolish. If she hadn't made this issue so public, the James family would never have driven her to this point. Even if the James family couldn't tolerate her and the child, they wouldn't do anything too extreme, especially considering that Lauren Mitchell was carrying a special child for their heir. As long as things are kept under wraps, they can be covered up. But once they're exposed, the James family's dirty laundry is laid bare for all to see. The James family happened to have a company going public, and with all this commotion, not only did the IPO get canceled, but they also faced a national investigation. The James family could never tolerate Matthew Scott having a child with another woman, but for the sake of their eyes, they have been willing to turn a blind eye. But when this illegitimate child started affecting their business, they had no choice but to abandon Lauren Mitchell and the baby. Yet, how could Lauren Mitchell so easily abort the child? She was still hoping to get some money from the James family through this baby. So, she packed up her things in the dead of night, planning to escape. But before she could leave City A, she was forcibly stopped by the James family and taken to have the baby aborted. When I heard the news, the only feeling I had was pity for Lauren Mitchell. No anger, no shock. After all, I was busy preparing an unforgettable proposal for Malene Stone. The day I proposed to Malene Stone, it just so happened that Matthew Scott and the James family eyes were holding a press conference to clarify everything about Lauren Mitchell. All the major media outlets were live streaming the conference, and every large screen in City A was broadcasting the event. I held Malene Stone in my arms, my mind focused on how I would plan our wedding. Once Malene and I tied the knot, I'd give her a grand ceremony, making her the happiest bride in the world. As I immersed myself in these thoughts of the future, a pale, gaunt woman appeared on the distant screen. Her eyes were bloodshot and she was rushing towards the James family on stage shouting curses. Brooklyn James, you killed my son. I will make you pay. The wedding venue descended into chaos. The bodyguards immediately rushed to protect the James family, but it was too late. Lauren Mitchell, holding a fruit knife, was just inches away from the heiress's abdomen. The guests were too shocked to move, and no one stepped forward to help. Lauren Mitchell lunged, aiming the knife at the heiress's belly. In that critical moment, Matthew Scott stepped in front of her. The fruit knife struck Matthew Scott instead. Only when he fell did the crowd snap out of their shock. People rushed towards Matthew Scott. In a matter of seconds, the press conference turned into a crime scene. Some called the police, others called for an ambulance. But Lauren Mitchell stood there, frozen, staring in pain at Matthew Scott, who was lying in a pool of blood. Her fruit knife fell to the ground, and she muttered in a trance. "Why? No. This shouldn't be happening. No, it's not like this." The James family, now fully aware of the situation, pointed at Lauren Mitchell and shouted at the bodyguards, "Why are you standing there? Get her. Don't let her escape." Then she turned to the live streaming media. "Turn off the live feed now. Whoever leaks this, don't blame me for what happens next." The The screen cut off at that moment. Malene Stone and I exchanged looks, and it took us a moment to process what had just happened. Malene, still shaken, looked at me and said, "Oh my God, this is insane. We're lucky we got divorced." I gently patted her back and reassured her, "It's okay. It's all in the past." The incident was quickly reported, and even though the James family tried to downplay it, the heat around it didn't subside. The James family became the subject of everyone's conversation. Not only that, but their stock value plummeted as well. The James family, eyes furious, demanded a divorce from Matthew Scott, but Matthew had been injured while protecting her. With all eyes on them, the truth could not be hidden, and if it got any bigger, Lauren Mitchell's abortion story would also come to light. Divorcing Matthew Scott now would only add fuel to the fire and put the James family at the center of a scandal. They couldn't risk Matthew Scott retaliating and revealing damaging secrets. So, the Aries had no choice but to swallow her pride. However, it said that during Matthew Scott's hospitalization, the James family eyes never once visited him. As for Lauren Mitchell, she couldn't escape the charge of attempted murder. Just when everyone expected her to be punished, Lauren Mitchell's parents presented her mental health diagnosis. The report clearly stated that Lauren Mitchell suffered from manic depressive disorder. After the police verified the authenticity of the diagnosis, Lauren Mitchell was once again released without charges. After this incident, I moved in with Malene Stone to start our new life together. My parents returned from their travels and bought a house near us. Malene Stone was the only daughter, and her parents were both university professors. They didn't judge my past. In fact, they were very empathetic towards my experiences. Malene Stone's older brother, a few years older than us, treated us like his own children. After learning about my past, he suggested I see a psychologist, but he also expressed admiration for me. With the Stone family, I felt warmth and love. We dined together every day, and I lived a very happy life. Malene Stone and I had a grand wedding. As I watched the woman walking towards me, I was filled with an overwhelming sense of satisfaction. I thought to myself, I know that Malene Stone and I will be happy together for the rest of our lives. 2 years later, our daughter was born. The little girl was practically a miniature version of Malene Stone, and we couldn't get enough of her. When our daughter turned 3, I brought Malene Stone and her 2 CDs for both work and a bit of fun. One afternoon, we were shopping for clothes in a mall when I turned around and saw Lauren Mitchell's parents. They greeted me, and as we were about to exchange a few words, they saw Malene Stone walking toward me, holding our daughter's hand. Their faces froze. They looked at our daughter and Malene Stone with a look of envy and let out a heavy sigh, muttering, "We really weren't blessed, were we?" On the way home, I found myself lost in thought, and Malene Stone noticed, asking if something was on my mind. I told her what Lauren Mitchell's parents had said. After Lauren Mitchell went mad, her parents couldn't bear to leave her, so they kept her close and took care of her themselves. But her condition only worsened. Even medication didn't seem to help anymore. She became very volatile, either talking about suicide or uncontrollably lashing out at others. Her parents, completely exhausted, had no choice but to send her to a psychiatric hospital. It was a long struggle to stabilize her, but eventually something triggered her again, and her emotions became even more erratic. She kept talking about the dead child, claiming the child was seeking revenge on her. In one impulsive moment, she stole a rope from another patient, strangled the nurse on duty, and jumped off the rooftop. By the time someone found her, it was too late. She had already passed away. Malene Stone sighed heavily after hearing this. If she hadn't treated you that way back then, she wouldn't have ended up like this. She suddenly seemed to have a thought, and her eyes widened with fear as she looked at me. "Do you think the James family Aries might have had a hand in this?" I glanced at my wife in the back seat and comforted her. "It doesn't matter if the James family Aries had anything to do with it. We have nothing to do with it. Don't overthink it. Everyone has their own fate. We just need to live our lives well."